There was a protest in Mexico City that got mostly peaceful. And what's got these Mexicans so upset is peak irony. When remote work became popular in 2020, more and more Americans moved to Mexico City to take advantage of cheaper prices.
There's just a dream that I have, and that dream is just to be treated like everyone else, to be treated fairly, equally, and to have peace. And Mexico City is the place where I've been able to achieve that.
Since then, prices have soared and people are pissed.
So just when you thought irony couldn't be any more irony-y, guess what? We have a story out of Mexico City where the local residents of that particular area are absolutely angry, enraged at the mass migration that they're experiencing. However, in this particular Mexico immigration story, it does not involve Mexicans coming to the United States. It's actually the other way around. What really has these people ticked off is that after the rise of remote work as a consequence of the pandemic, a bunch of wealthy Californians that found it too expensive to live under Democratic rule in the state of California have decided to go to Mexico City, and according to the locals, they're refusing to speak the language, they're bidding up the prices of housing, they're causing more traffic, they're not respecting the Mexican culture, and in reality, they're actually degrading the Mexican culture. Now, of course, keen-eyed observers of this channel, people who go back years, know that we've actually talked about this before when the LA Times released an article basically saying that Americans were degrading Mexican culture and their society by immigration in a series of articles that they put out back in 2022 complaining about this. And it was funny then, it's definitely funny now, because for a long time in this country, Mexicans have been illegally immigrating to the United States of America, basically controlling a bunch of different areas and causing all the very same problems that they're now complaining about in Mexico City, but on our side of the border. But once they got a small taste of their own medicine, it turns out they are not about it. It turns out that national pride and maintaining your cultural heritage is in fact valuable to them as long as it's their stuff that's being put under threat. And this is what we're going to talk about today. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
The reason we've gathered here is precisely to hear the thoughts of many victims, mainly young people today, for whom it's almost impossible to live, to find housing.
So one of my favorite videos on this particular topic comes from the YouTube channel DC Shorts, which of course is affiliated with the Daily Caller. And one of the funniest parts about this particular video is that the guy actually has to read off all of these different signs that are being held up by these Mexican protesters. And there is just something so beautiful, so chef's kiss about this moment in time in our history.
Some of these protest signs are so on the nose that I had to make sure I wasn't being swindled by AI. Gringo, stop stealing our home. Your new home is an invasion. Learn Spanish, respect our culture, pay effing taxes. Spanish is spoken here. Gringo, I want you to go back to your country, not your home. Pay taxes, learn Spanish, respect my culture.
Now, I want to make something 100% clear for everybody out there in the audience. I do not blame these Mexicans for being upset about their cultural heritage being wiped away, about a foreign language being spoken in one of their major cities, or any of their general complaints about the issues of mass migration into Mexico. I just wish that many of them would understand that we have similar complaints over here. We expect some level of assimilation, and we also experience negative downstream consequences of floods of people across the border, bidding up housing prices, again, committing crimes, committing other problems in our society. And this is one of the reasons why I think both countries should be allowed to control their border. Now, what makes this even more funny, what makes this even more hilarious, is that the people who have migrated to the city of Mexico in order to work remotely are the very same people who would vote for open borders into the United States of America. And now now all of a sudden they find themselves being treated like invaders because in reality, the local population feels like they're more trouble than they're worth. And this is because rents have skyrocketed in this particular area. This is because there are little English speaking, basically like carve out neighborhoods or enclaves in this particular area. And this is really frustrating and aggravating the local Mexican population. And again, to me, it is absolutely hilarious. Although I will point out that there is a lot of destruction associated with these protests, a lot of Antifa types. It's just kind of funny that the people who are on the receiving end of this Antifa-like rage are the people most likely to support those causes.
It's not just that. We're living the consequences of gentrification, which is the government directing its public policies towards people with higher purchasing power, often illegally displacing local population who have lived in these neighborhoods for 40, 50, and we have documented cases of up to 60 years.
So look, even though there are obvious parallels with what is going on in Mexico City and what is going on in the United States of America, especially in terms of tactics where people are breaking stuff and whatnot, in reality, there are some key differences. First and foremost, you have people protesting on the Mexican side in order to get Americans out of Mexico. So they actually want stricter border enforcement against these individuals who have come to their country, who have come to this city, and they believe are causing a bunch of different various problems. And in reality, in the United States of America, you have people protesting on behalf of those who came to the nation and are causing the issues that the native population voted overwhelmingly to change. But again, these are also leftist protesters, make no mistake about it. We have the Antifa Black Bloc stuff. We also have the undercurrent of these protests happens to be anti-white. They're calling the people who are coming to Mexico colonizers, which I find to be absolutely hilarious because at the same time, they're demanding that Spanish be the language that is spoken there, which is the language of Spain, which of course colonized Mexico and colonized most of Latin America. But for whatever reason, these people are completely unaware of that irony. But also, it's just funny that all these different various people get to very publicly make their case for some kind of national unity, shared language, and shared culture. But this doesn't apply to the United States of America. And this is one of the reasons why years ago we were making fun of that LA Times article covering this same topic in this same way, because when it comes to the United States of America, or Los Angeles in particular, it's an open border situation. Anybody can come in. The guy who showed up yesterday is just as American as you, and also you're evil for being a real American, but make no mistake about it, those people are just as American as you. But when it comes to Mexico, when it comes to people going to their city, spending money there, end up leading to a bunch of different industries and positive for certain sections of the Mexican population, no mas, no more. We got to get them gone. These people are a dredge on our society. They're gentrifiers. They're white people moving in, which is evil, white, and racist. And I'm sure once they leave, that will be white flight, which is also evil, white, and racist. And we absolutely can't have it. It's absolutely unacceptable. And we are not going to tolerate it anymore. I mean, seriously, people, these signs speak for themselves. Speak Spanish, pay taxes, use pesos. This is Mexico. Make Mexico great again. I just made that last one up. But yeah, I'm sure it's there somewhere. And basically all these different various warnings in order to get people out of their country, because again, they want to preserve the history and heritage of their nation. They are not fans of Americans coming into their country. And make no mistake about it, when you end up in a situation where migrants from Central America try to go through Mexico, the Mexican population is also against that as well, especially when they're not just passing through the nation of Mexico to the United States of America. Now, of course, in my opinion, because Mexico has facilitated mass migration into the United States of not only their own population, but other Central American populations, I'm happy that they're dealing with a small taste of what we've had to deal with in the United States of America. Ever since Trump closed the border and has been successful in that, we're seeing riots and issues in south of Mexico where people are mad about all these Guatemalans and all these other Spanish-speaking peoples that are immigrating to their country and causing problems of undercutting wages, and that is the deserved punishment for these people, again, allowing them through their government to pass through into the United States for so many years. Also, this proves the point that nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, wants a bunch of Californians, wants a bunch of San Franciscans moving into into their city. They don't want the frozen yogurt shops. They don't want the craft beers and all the artisanal pickles or whatever the hell these people want to do, whatever culture they want to bring from San Francisco. They just want to do their own thing, have minimal migration, which again is something that most of the world tends to agree with. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts on this particular issue, on this particular story. I want to know what you guys think about all this down in the comments below. Do you find the humor in it? Do you side with the Mexican people and not wanting the Americans to be there? Or do you side with the American people and wanting to immigrate over there? Or do you think that everybody should just separate off and we should have a strong border, build the wall, Mexico needs to pay for it in order to keep the Americans out, thus keeping Orange Man's term 1 promise? Again, all your thoughts down in the comments below. As per usual, if you like the video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on the social medias, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the absolute madness down in Mexico City. Till next time.